What's up, everybody? Welcome to Offbeat. This your host, Jack Analog, and today we got a special guest, my guy, Soul City. What's going on, brother? How you doing, man?
Um, doing, as decent as anybody can be. I mean, I'm alive. That's a good thing. Obviously, folks got, a lot of things going on in their lives. So, that's just it is what it is. But just being alive is really all I can ask for.
Respect, man. Yeah, this guy's a very humble guy, but he's a monster. Don't get it confused. I just want people to know, like you know, because I came kind of into this culture, right? I've been making I've been making beats for, I mean, I say decades, right? But uh I came back into the scene, you know what I'm saying? And that's where I met the Jacks and the Aliens and the Two Highs and all of those dudes, right? Respect to all them brothers, you know what I'm saying? You can check Two High on one of my pods actually. Um, but I saw you and I was like, yo, like you was one of them dudes that made me stop. Like, hold up, who is this? You know what I'm saying? And I don't, as a producer, like I said, I've been doing this for a couple decades. Like you don't just get my attention like that, Like Dilla will make me stop. You know what I'm saying? Just did it. Somebody played donuts. I was like, like 5 minutes. I couldn't. Like that's how I operate. Um, and yeah, and then like I don't know if you remember, but I was comment. I didn't comment, but and then because you was asking questions. Like you had a sweet. I appreciated your way of putting your music out. Like amongst what everybody else was doing, you had a way that I related to as a producer, which is crazy. Like, but the beats were smashing. So with all that said, brother, welcome to the show. I appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate you.
Um, First thing I want to ask you, right, is what inspires you to start making music and become Soul City?
So, you mean as far as inspiring my workflow or just
Nah, just like what made you start, like period, Like for example, me, I was rapping, right? And I was in a group and we had a person that was doing the production, but they had a manager and basically the manager didn't want to release nothing. So we were doing all this work, going to studios 2 and 3 in the morning, recording just to not release anything. So like December '99, we decided we was gonna put our money together and get a Triton, and didn't know nothing, and just went in. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So that was my inspiration to start like actually doing production. So
I can dig it. So, um, I'm not sure if you know this about me, or most folks probably don't know this about me, but I'm actually a lot younger than most of the folks within our circle. Uh, I'm only 32 years old. Um, so when I was younger, I think this is at the time, video games was popping, like PlayStation 2 video games, Xbox games, and things like that.
mm-hmm.
I remember grabbing a rental from Blockbuster for NBA Street Volume 2. And if you ever played that game, that starting track,
No,
you,
you talking about the Pete Rock track, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm like, snaps.
You better make me snap now, like man. Go ahead, man. See,
I didn't even want to play the game because I was listening to the track so long.
bro. See, you making me hype. Man, look, I used to just let that joint play. Like, you know how you play the joint, you select, like you would select one or two and then the play. I just let it, I wouldn't even select nothing. Just let that joint, bro, you taking me back, man. Go ahead, continue, please.
Well, so, I mean, that track right there, I mean, music is, good and everybody's right and things like that. I mean, at the time, I was still listening to radio music, and this is around what, '03 to '05 and shit like that. So you talk about the southern trap music was just starting to pop off. All
Mhm.
the what do you call it? The ringtone music and things like that.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Soldier Boy, yep. Mhm.
yep, all that stuff was popping off at the time. Um, so this was actually different music that I haven't heard of. My mother came around the corner, is like, "Oh, this track is playing. I didn't know you used to listen to stuff like that. Like, how old is this track?" It's like, "Oh, this is back in the early '90s." Like, okay. And so that track in particular started my love for hip hop, like true hip hop. And of course, that game in particular was it had just a rundown of a bunch of great music,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
bunch of great music. Talk about stuff from Blaze, Swiss, all them crazy producers.
Mhm. Yeah, that was a that game, probably one of the greatest games, like,
Definitely best
and
EA game that was ever put out,
yeah.
next to
Yeah.
that and all that stuff. But definitely the best EA game that was put out there. But anyways, that started my love for hip hop. Um, and at the time, I didn't really understand how a track was put together. I thought whoever was rapping over the track did the entire track. So I was like, okay, these two dudes, P Rock and CL Smooth, I only hear one person rapping over it. So got me digging in some research, and this was at the same time, the internet was still kind of new-ish. Google was still a new thing. You didn't get like the 1,012 pages of searches and
Right.
shit like that. You only had maybe like 8 or 9 pages of searches. But I got to researching on this track. It's like, oh, he's the DJ and the producer. Okay,
Mhm.
what is a producer? So, um, and both of my parents are hip hop heads too. My father especially, he was a Dilla fan at the time.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he was a Dilla fan. He was a Slum Village fan altogether, but he was a Dilla fan. Um, and all the Soulquarians at the time, just that whole round of music in particular. And my pops was telling me, oh, the producer is the guy that's behind the vocals, all the music and stuff behind the vocals. And he was also saying, to just like any other producer, I listen to the music for the beat behind it or things like that. Um,
Mhm.
so I was like, okay, maybe that's what I want to do when I get
Mm.
old. Uh, I want to be, this music is great. I want to make music like this. And so
Mm.
this was around maybe like 13. I gave up on that after maybe like a year and a half because I didn't know exactly what went into it. And so I was like, I don't know how to start this. So whatever. Moved on to life. Didn't really get back into it up until I joined into the military, but it was in a different genre of music. It's like FL Studios, huh?
Mhm.
This is some interesting software. At the time, I was also a lot of folks don't know this about me either. I was also a crump dancer at the time.
You was also a what?
I was also a crump dancer at the time.
Okay.
So if anybody dipped into that realm of dancing, the music behind it, though it is pretty much organized chaos, it is really, really, really good music. It is probably the most energetic music I've ever heard in my life at the time. And so once I started getting into that dancing, I started getting into the music behind that dancing too, because I was fully attracted to it.
Mhm.
Um, my first track in that space was not great at all. Not great at all. Over the years, I got a little bit of mentorship from a couple of my folks doing the same thing. I
Mhm.
got a little bit better at it. And I thought I was doing good. So much so that that I had a couple of famous folks within that space dancing to my music and things like that. So okay, I can dig it. Uh, after a certain amount of time, it's kind of like politics with any type of competitive space.
Right.
The politics, you know, drove me away out of it. It's like nobody here is positive anymore. So I gave up on it, went back to hip hop because I was still listening to that stuff, here and there.
Mhm.
put out my first hip hop track on a forum called illmusic.com, and this was during the time they had well, not necessarily a battle, more like a competition. I was like, man, this track sounds good with this sample. I'm gonna put this in here. I ended up winning fourth place. I was like, top 10 folks. I was like, okay,
Mhm.
at least I know I have an ear for this.
Right.
So I gave it a couple more tries in different places, up and down the rankings. I was like, I like doing this. I like doing this. And so,
Crucial.
you know, that forum with Ill Music spawned into several other different places, like what's it called? Future Producers, and there was another one. Uh, attempted SoundClick for a little bit when it was still decent. Um, SoundCloud and all those crazy places.
Mhm.
Um, and then towards maybe like a week after I transitioned from the military, uh, I got on Facebook, and lo and behold, Chris, folks used to know him as DJ Stress, or he's called Mass Connect now.
Mass Connect, my guy. What's up? Respect to Rocco.
Chris
Deuce
hit
a
me up.
corner.
Chris hit me up in a comment on one of my joints about how he was starting the producer's corner.
Mm.
Yeah,
Woo.
he's
And
like,
that was 9 years ago, correct?
was that's a good question. That was 9 years ago. That
Mm.
was 9 years ago.
Wow.
September of 2017 is where they put out the first sample challenge.
Crucial.
And so I said, okay, cool, whatever. Made a joint from that sample, put it out there. That was the first sample challenge. And so, you know, the producer's corner stuff goes on from here, or goes on from there. I think around 2018, towards the beginning of 2018, I moved back to DC, or well, I guess technically the DMV, Walworth at the time. And I got hit up by Chris. He said, "Hey, there's some folks in your area that want to battle, or that would want to do a battle, and they asked me to judge it, but I can't go down there. So can you fill in for us?" I was like, "Okay, cool. Who is it?" His name is Olo from the Beat Conductors. I was like, "Huh? I think I signed up for one of their battles and never got a response back."
Yeah. Respect to Olo. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
Beat
So,
conductors.
yep, he gave me his number. I contacted him. Um, he explained everything to me, and I think towards the middle of 2018 is where I've witnessed my first Beat Conductors battle. What's crazy is I was a judge for that battle. I wasn't
Mm.
even participating in it. I was a judge representing Producer's Corner for this.
Mm.
They had a battle coming up the next couple months, and I joined that battle too as an actual participant and won that battle.
Mm.
So, um, I'm actually kind of rambling. I
No, you telling, hey, you telling your story, man. I'm like, yo, like,
I think I
I
was getting away from the
so
initial point of it, but yeah.
nah. So I guess I'll give you my perspective, because like you got to think, like, when I met you, and see, this is how everybody is gonna. This might be one of the ways people are introduced to you, right?
Right.
But then there's gonna be people like me that heard your music first, and now I'm getting you know, and it's just like I keep telling people every time I do these, I learn. Like, I knew you was young, I ain't knew you was that young. Like, I'm like, damn. And then it's like, yo, so like you like another two how almost like, but I'm saying as far as like how both y'all parents hip hop heads, you kind of more, you know, into the you was into a certain type of music, but it was just something about that that 90s style, like that you just it just cling to you. I can see it, and I see that in both y'all. Now, what the part of your story that intrigues me, and then and for me as a producer, like I'm actually this is where I want to go back to is the dancing. How you say you basically you was making beats for like the dance music.
Yeah.
Cause like I'll be watching like the Jabberwockies or like the young brothers from New York on the subway. I can't think of I still watch them all the time. But like, and then I watch a lot of B-boy battles and stuff like that. So, you know, that music is, and then if you peep it, like a lot of times they'll take actual boom bap joints and just like speed them up or like they did with that Eve joint or the Red Man joint, Time for Some Action. Like it's certain songs that they use in that 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 element. So I'm attracted to that, but it kind of leads me more into the EDM side. But long story short, what intrigued me was when you was like uh you was making beats to dance, and I'm gonna be honest, like in the era we love, it ain't a lot of that. It's more like the head nod, like yeah, you got we just said like time for some action, right? Like, but that era is known for the biggies, the Nas, and yeah, they made songs you could dance to, but that era didn't. You don't think of dancing when you think of the golden era. You know what I'm saying? It's not like the '80s. Like that was dance. They was dancing to that music, and then it kind of transferred. So me, that's why I want to go back to. I want to go back to that part of hip hop, and that's what intrigued me. And I'm like, oh, now when I hear your beats, knowing that you dance, now I'm gonna listen. I'm telling you, like, cause I danced. Like I got my wife from dancing, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Like I used to get females from dancing in the club. I'm telling you, that, that was my style. I don't know if I was, I don't know how good looking I was or whatever. I dressed pretty decent, but I could dance, cuz. You know what I'm saying? so,
I mean,
so
what
and
other?
that's the rhythm, right? And
Right.
that's it's easily transferred. You know what I mean? Because like I'm broke up now body wise, but I can still dance with the past. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, with the dancing, so I mean, at the time I was doing it, this is more of something that typically when it comes to dance music, it's a little bit faster, right?
Right.
Around like probably lowest, probably around maybe like 98 beats per minute, right? Um, this was a dance that you actually dance to slower, maybe like in the 70s or 60s,
Yeah.
because it's one of those. It was one of those dances that was mainly built around the
Right.
battling. So they wanted you to see everything they were doing and seeing how you're choreographing yourself to the music that you're playing. They wanted to make sure you see everything they're doing. Um, but yeah, this music was a lot slower, but it definitely did influence the music that I have now. Because if you ever listen to that type of music, you realize how heavy those drums are, how aggressive the entire track is, how aggressive synthesizers, how aggressive sounds are. Uh, it's a very
But
I'm not
like,
gonna say it's not a very angry type of music, but it's definitely more aggressive and more energetic.
right. I know what you're talking about, but like, isn't there like, cause you're saying slow, right? But like, I don't know. It's almost like b-boy tracks, right? You know how they be having like breaks, literally. Like that's literally what happens. Like and but in the break, that's where the dude will do his freeze or pause or whatever whatever they call it. Like you know what I mean? So like in that style of music, then it's like it might be slow, right? Like the drums might be slow, but don't it be like sounds that like kind of jump off at like a double time? That because like if I'm getting the same dance, cause like Derrick Rose used to do that, right? Wasn't
Right.
that his style? Yeah. So like it was a lot of double up in the so it was a slow tempo track, but it had a lot of double up. It's almost like EDM, where you can have like halftime like boom, and then can boom, it's you know what I mean? And so that and I'm it's crazy that you say that because I'm that's what I'm actually that the double half time because I do everything in double time. So that way because I have it's more precise, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, in the timing. Like you literally doubling the amount of divisions that you have.
Right.
So your pockets are a lot tighter. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Um, so it's beautiful. That's beautiful, bro. And I can see why your sound sounds like that. Yes, check it out, y'all. Like, go to his IG sound. I'm telling you, like he has a sound, and that's in this era it's kind of rare. Like for somebody to have a sound, like I don't hear him and think, you know what I'm saying? I don't. I'm like what is this? You know what I mean? Like, or I'm like, is it a sample? Like, if you can make me like wonder, like, is it or you know what I mean? Like, that's when you got me. You know what I mean? Because the beat could be dope, but if I'm like, I know the sample, like that's like you as a producer, it's like figure that out. You know what I mean? Like we used to play them games. Like my man will hit me up, like when did I chop this? Like he send me the sample and then send the track he made, and then be like, where the chop? Where the chops at? I'll listen to that joint, be like 132, 140. And then I'll take the same sample and chop it. And then I'll be like, yeah, where the chops? He'd be like, man, go ahead on. Cause I chopped it and then double the double time. See, that's what messed people up. I'm chopping in double time. So now yeah, like, but these are things that, you play and you do, it's not like, all of a sudden. So somebody told me a trick back in the day, and this was back in the Triton era. See, they was like, if you wanted to get like a fast sound, it's like slow the tempo down and then record it. Just you ain't even gotta be in rhythm. You'd be like, just start tapping it. Tap as fast as you can, but you slow it down about 40, however low, down at the lowest BPM you can go to, and then you speed it back up to the tempo you want to be at, and that jam will be like, brr, 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 it'll be going crazy. You know what I'm saying? So like little stuff like that. So then out of that, that's how I started, going into the double halves and all of that stuff. So that's my point, man. Like it's ain't no rooted science in this. You know what I mean?
Right.
But once you get to a certain level, there are standards. You know what I'm saying? Because like you know, we didn't experience these beat battles, and I came in thinking my drums is ready. No, they not. No,
Man,
they won't ready, cuz go back again and try again.
right.
And
And
I
I tell a lot of folks that want to start production is like, if you want to start production, definitely if you want to get to a certain level where everybody's looking to you for advice on how to produce this, that, and the third, jump in a battle and see exactly how humbled you get. I tell everybody at least experience one battle, the very least one battle to see number one what's out there,
right,
and number two what do you need to work on.
right. Yep. And that's a major part of growth, you know what I mean? Is, going out to them battles. But then but you also gotta realize too that um those things can only provide you so much growth. You know what I mean? Because they are in the context of what they are. You know what I mean? Me as a you know producer, I'm into growth. I wanna grow. I wanna be able to do more. And I came from the time where we didn't even have hip hop on the radio. Like, and then when it was like 4 to 5 on the Rap Attack on the AM radio. You know what I mean? I mean, it sound like slavery times probably to some people, but like that's really how it was jumping off at one time here. And then you started hearing certain songs on the radio. But me, I was in the skating rink, so uh I heard uh hip hop music, in its element. And, I was also in the breaking. So those two things kind of kept me grounded in hip hop. But like mainstream, nah, you wouldn't turn on Z 104 or 103 jams. You ain't hearing no hip hop, bro. You hearing Michael Jackson, Prince, and Shalimar. You know what I'm saying?
And it's crazy that you say that too, because in a way it's the exact opposite, but it's also the same kind of feeling nowadays when it comes to the radio, where it's like you guys only had a certain window on a certain station to hear exactly what you want to hear. For us, we don't get those stations at all because all the underground stuff is just underground. We barely hear radio stuff that we want to hear anymore, and so it's all the stuff that the record labels want to push, all the
Right,
stuff you hear now.
right. And then let's keep it 100. Like labels won't labels won't throw in no money to hip hop records. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Precisely.
Rapper's Delight, 79, 80, you know, and that popped off. But for the most part, labels won't, you had to make labels was being created in hip hop just to, you know, put out records. You know what I'm saying? And then finally got to a point where the industry saw value and, you know what I mean? And the machine jumped in. And
And that's the thing. Labels, they're constantly chasing they're constantly chasing hit records, or at least the ones that we see out there now, like the Atlantic, Universal, all that stuff. They're constantly chasing hits. They don't want to spend money on stuff that's quote unquote niche, this that
right.
because they don't see any value in that. They don't see any royalties in that. They don't see any of that.
Okay. So let me ask you a question because I'm curious. It just popped in my head. How do you feel about uh AI technology and music production?
It's crazy. I actually attempted it once. I attempted to use it once. Not necessarily for a whole production, but just to at least get some ideas out there,
Mm-hmm.
some ideas that I could work off of. Um, Number one, it didn't feel good putting it together, and number two, uh, it none of it was anything that I was looking for as far as what I wanted to sample or what I wanted to use or anything like that. Nothing felt good about it. Um, and then I started thinking, it's like, yo, these are folks that just like everybody would say, these are folks that put their blood, sweat, and tears into creating just these riffs that the AI is putting together on its own. Um, so it got me thinking, well, how is this any different? How is this any different than me taking a beat and saying that it's mine, or taking a couple of notes and a riff, putting it in my track and saying that it's mine? So as far as AI is concerned, nah, I don't mess with it at all. Even when it comes to mixing and mastering, you got those companies that say, "Oh, we'll put this track in here and mix and master it for you," but no, I don't mess with that either.
Okay. Um, Me, I basically use AI as efficiency tool, right? And well, it's deeper than that, right? Because so for example, like you said, the artist that or the musician rather that played that riff, right? Um, you know, AI take that riff. Now, if you look at it from a uh budget standpoint, um, you can either hire a session guy to come in, then you gotta have an engineer come in and record that musician playing that session, right? Or you can tell AI, "Hey, I need these notes." You know what I'm saying? Because in the music industry, uh it's risk. So they're spending money before anything uh has even a chance to become a product. And then once it is a product, they don't know if it's gonna work. So as a business, they're trying to minimize their losses and maximize their gains, right?
which is understandable. I get it.
So on the business side, AI makes sense. Now, for
Right.
me, uh, I come from an era where we sample, and I've been that guy to say, "Hey, Imma sample this. If it pop and I get caught and they sue, well, but at least I know I got it, right?" Okay, cool. And, even now we got, uh, platforms like TrackLib where you can go and get the sample the right way, basically clear it, right? Which is beautiful. But then you have these, uh even Suno, I believe, can do it, but I specifically deal with a certain type of software sampler that you can generate your own samples, and it's amazing to me, like the way that I can apply it, and it makes my workflow like so much faster. Like, um, versus me going and looking for samples, like, as we say, we crate dig, like if you want to try to find something rare, like on some alchemist, you know what I mean? Like that takes time. Like that's a separate, there ain't no AI, there ain't no technology. If you're gonna crate dig, you gotta crate dig. Yeah, you could do it online or whatever, but you gotta know what to do or how to do that or what you're searching for. Like there's certain you know, elements with that, right? Where I can say, I want this type of sound and boom and get it. But now I'm taking that sound and now I'm hip hop. Now it's hip hop. But the difference is I'm not worrying about if it's dope and people like it, I don't have to worry about, oh, I'm gonna get sued. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So from a business standpoint, right? On some fun hip hop stuff, yeah, sampling is probably gonna be, the most accepted way, right? You know, but that's still taking somebody's song and chopping it up and making it, you know,
Yeah.
something else, which that's hip hop. You know what I mean? And I have a definite appreciation for that. I love that. You know what I mean? I try to chop that shit up until you don't recognize it. You know what I mean? Like that's because I was kind of taught that, like, yo, you can, you know, manipulate this to make it where they don't even know what it is. But that's over with now. So um I can understand, um a lot of the hip hop heads not really having appreciation for AI. I agree. I kind of agree with a lot of that, Um but I believe from a business standpoint, and that's not a genre thing. That's just music business. Like um you got to have some type of I ain't gonna say
Unique.
AI-ness, you know what I mean? But not it don't have to be in your music per se, but um if there's a tool that can make you more efficient, because like it's millions of songs coming out. You know what I mean? Like, so you're in competition with numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you might have that Michael Jackson Thriller song, bam, that's beautiful. You might catch, but that's literally what everybody else is thinking when they put their tracks out. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So
So, you know, numbers wise, if it can be more efficient, if it make you more efficient, you know what I mean? I think it's a viable tool. Now let me ask you this. Do you feel like it's cheating? And when I say that, so because I wanted to ask you like how you actually use that with a sample because me, I'll never, I would never take a sample. Like I don't like auto chopping.
Right.
Let me make that. I could maybe that'll make it. I don't like to auto chop, so ain't no way I would take a sample, and that's not even something I would even think about doing in AI. You know what I'm saying? Is that what you did, or what did you?
No, I attempted to use the AI to create the sample, or even try to create the MIDI notes. Um, it did what it did, but again, number one, the track didn't come out great, and that's probably on me. But number two, it just didn't feel at least proper for my workflow. So, and that's the other thing too. And I guess it's like the levels in the business that you're involved in. So for like a record label, obviously it would make sense. I mean, less overhead as far as putting together the track and putting it out. From the artist, at least for me, for branding, I know my what's the term? Uh, my target audience. My target audience is mainly other artists, other producers, and things like that. At least that's what I've got from my metrics. Um, from I guess a from an individual standpoint, from their business and their branding, the image of me putting out music that has AI attached to it, aside from maybe like a track cover or anything like that, the image of me putting AI to something that's supposed to be art, at least for my brand and my image, to me, it wouldn't sit well with my target audience.
Right.
So it's like I don't think I even want to go through that whole process. Now, again, if it's a track cover or anything like that, personally, I'm fine with it. Obviously, the folks that are like graphic designers and things like that, that doesn't sit well with them either. But
Hey, I agree, man. Like, and I'm gonna always say this till I go away from here is that you got to do what feel right. And you have to be genuine with it, and and that's what I'm doing because I don't put out anything I'm not feeling, and it don't matter what it is, sample, no sample, some pots clinging. I'm not gonna put it out if I'm not feeling it, regardless. So when I started, you know, and like I said, I saw that workflow was just so,
simple.
like I can generate so many samples, boom, and I got work like boom. You know what I mean? Like I don't have to go searching and then, cause like if you really a serious crate digger, you gonna be looking up the publishers. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna be really it's not a just a finding a song type deal. It's a lot. It's if you are a crate digger, you know what I mean? That's a difference from somebody that samples beats on YouTube and a crate digger. It's a difference. Okay, so all I'm saying is that um, it's all about the workflow flow. You know what I mean? If this is a hobby for you, you know what I mean. I get the hobbyist saying don't use that. Yeah, of course. You know what I mean? There is no competition. Well, you might be at sample challenges or battles or stuff like that, but there's a no level of competition and trying to seize markets and things of that nature. So makes sense. Like if but see me, and it's really funny that you brought up a beautiful point that you know your audience is or your audience, you know what I mean? First of all, just knowing your audience. That's a key thing to understand, right? And uh but then the part of knowing your artists is artists and producers, right? And I agree that um I think we can set ourselves up that way, but then I have to go back, and this is why I ask producers what inspired them, right? See, sometimes I have to go back and look at, well, why did you start making beats? Me, I started making beats because I couldn't get stuff released on songs that, on tracks that, you know, the manager didn't want to release. You know what I'm saying? So it was all about the songs when I started making beats. It wasn't all about the beats. You know what I'm saying? Whereas in now's time, it seems like people try to make it more about the beats, but like, you know, and that's what I'm saying. Where do you stand? Where do you like not you personally, but just you as a producer, where do you want to be? Like, do you want to be um at the top of, where they, like Overlord Radio, like you want them to have hold candles for you, like, and that's dope. And trust me, like if it ever I haven't submitted. If it did, I'd be hyped. I was hyped when I won the producer corner. I was hyped when, producers lounge, gave me the bam bam bam. Like because I'm hip hop. So when when you put something out there and you get that charge back, to me it's nothing better than that. You know what I'm saying? Um, but that's the hip hop fun feeling engagement side, you know what I mean?
Mm.
But then there's that song side, like when I put this album out and, I got all these, people listening, I'm like, yo, like, I'm not getting this same response from just beats. So knowing your audience is and which you kind of lead me into the next question, right? Because like say, um, I don't know if you got a cousin or, a friend or somebody that might be like, yo, I want to get that NPC sample, man. I've been hearing your beats on IG. What would you tell me? You know what I'm saying? What can you tell me to, you know, to get me right so I can make that next hit? Well, I'm throwing that goofiness in there, but you know what I'm saying? What would you tell a new producer, um, just getting started, man? Like,
So
what
to just
direction?
started
Mhm.
getting direction. Um, well, let me ask number one, do you already have equipment? And number two, I would ask, do you already have a workflow? So if you already have equipment, or whether it be software or just whatever, if you have equipment and you have a workflow, as far as other equipment and other software and things like that, invest in something that's going to make the workflow easier. That's the only thing. Outside of that, there's no excuse for you to be spending money on more equipment. There's no excuse for you to be spending more money on software unless the workflow, unless the production is getting tighter, tighter, and tighter.
I agree 100%. And I would say learn your equipment. Like, and I know us as producers, some of us are uh gear heads, you know what I mean? We love that gear. So like when a new piece come out, I do it. Yeah. I ain't gonna front. But um what I've learned, and this goes for hardware, plugins, like all types of stuff. Like I just saw this new ASR 10 plugin. My eyes bugged out. You know what I'm saying? Like I was looking for that 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So like it's like, oh my goodness, this I had one. I know, them I know them British EQs. I know those envelopes. I'm like, you know what I mean? So um, but once again, know your equipment.
Yep.
Like you can needlessly spend money. I'm still probably gonna get that ASI. I ain't gonna front, but uh, um, learn your equipment. Like go, like read manuals. Like a lot of us we don't like to read. We think go in, you know, or I mean, YouTube, like at least you can that's the lazy way. Like, but it's still effective, you know what I mean? But those books can tell you little bitty things that they might not tell you
Right.
on YouTube, right? So read the manuals, you know what I mean? And just know your equipment to the fullest extent based on what you want to get done. You know what I mean? You don't need to know every little feature in it unless that's what you need to get the job done. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, if it's something out there that can make what you need to get done faster, then get it. But if not, you know,
There's no point. There's no excuse. There's no reason.
exactly, exactly. Bro, I'm kind of shocked, but it's dope. Like like I don't know what I expected from. I thought I was just gonna get this story. You know what I mean? But like, it's dope. It's what's dope about it is like if me not knowing, I thought. Remember when I told you when I saw you on Facebook, I mean not on Facebook, on IG, like I thought you was like this huge dude, like, and then how you was over the tracks, but you was humble, and I was like, yo, this dude, it's
Oh,
like with some aura, right? And then that was wild, bro, when I saw you at the cook up, and I'm standing there talking to you and G and respect the geology, and I don't even realize that's you. You know what I mean? He was like, yeah, Soul City. And I just froze, like, what? It's dope, man. Like, you know, some people just got it in them, man. You definitely and you know the time, the age, that none of that mattered. It didn't matter to me. I just you you come off in a different way that you know. That's why I don't really be on age like that. Cause what is that? That don't even. It don't even. How do you equate other than your skin, like you know what I mean? Like how does age really? He's like, oh, well, you need to act like. What is acting 32? What is acting 45? Like, where's the standard of that? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think it's
so
the
age.
stereotypical thing. I think it's like the stereotypical thing where you're set in your ways. As you get older, you're more set in your ways. You're moving less, and just everything that comes with getting older. Thing, not necessarily things start to shut down, but things start to lock up on you. And I'm starting to feel that a little bit.
Well, I mean, it's experience. I mean, after so many times of doing something, you lock into a certain way, right? And then, like if your MP, you know what I mean, and then that one pad, like feel like that velocity, what's going on? Like what do? You adjust. Like that's hip hop. Like I I remember having a renaissance. I ain't gonna try to knock Kai, but I'm just saying, like, this is an example of, you know, when things aren't in perfect, like you feel like they should, or like they tell you it should be. So, you know, we all know A0, A1, that's the lineup of the pads, right? So if I chop it, they're A1, 2, 3, 4, right? So on a keyboard, MIDI, because the MIDI is starts at C0, right? All MIDI notes start at C0. So A0, right? Already they off, but A0 should equate to that C0. So if I got and the only reason I had to record my sample chops like that is because I couldn't get Logic to register the Renaissance pads, but I could get it to register the Kai advanced keys, right? So, all right. So, just chop them up. I got them all lined up. Come to the keys, right? So, you would think the first key would line up with the first pad, right? No, sir. I had to go to the second bank, six key, and I found the chop. That was the first pad, right? Because you get hyped because I'm looking at the Renaissance. That's what I did. And literally sometimes I just roll the keys until I
Yeah.
saw I saw the pad light up. Like that's how I would find my chops. And then like the second one would be in the first bank, fifth key. Like,
Yep.
I had to find all my sample chops until eventually I knew what keys was what chops, you know what I mean?
And of
On
course, and that's to be given when when you're mixing several different pieces of equipment from different brands and different places and trying to get it to work together. Like I had the same issues when I had a machine jam and it was working through FL Studios. Um, First of all, that was a nightmare to put together just to get a template down for everything to function right because Machine Jam doesn't have sampling capabilities. So on top of trying to get everything functioning in the controller editor, I had to get it separate software, what's called a MIDI translator, and I basically had to
mm,
place keyboard hotkeys into a pad or into a button. And
mm,
that's how I was able to get things to function sort of the way I wanted to. It never got fully the way I wanted to, but
right.
yeah. But that just comes with mixing together different pieces of equipment.
Well, I agree, but I would think, right, if it was the same 2 piece of equipment from the same company, know what I mean? Okay, no, it's not a MPC, but it's still a Kai, know what I mean? Like, that's what I was saying, and I 'cause you was like different pieces, but I was like, "But these were the same thing." But, you know, respect, I got, I love a Kai MPC, but I'm gonna have my gripes, just like I have gripes with any, with Apple, Logic, like,
Yep.
they're not perfect, you know what I'm saying? Like, but it's the ability to work through it and get what you need, like, that's the whole point, so, um as producers, like you just said, like that setup you had was atrocious, but you got it to a point where it was workable. You know what I mean? And that's the part. Like, and I think the music kind of, I think the music will kind of mold into that style. You know what I mean? Like I remember we had it one uh I had one working chord coming out the Triton, or the jog wheel broken, so I had to, use the tap joint to get the sample, no jog wheel, like, and like, oh man.
Mhm.
But it was like it would be like, all right, let me first hit I find, I'm stopping, like, I didn't have the freedom to jog it all the way, little goofy stuff like that, but I mean, I think it made you, uh, have to really like, "Yo, let me get this right now, cause I don't have a whole lot of," and this is in the era where you left your board on, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get up the bad wake up, cause I had to, set up another room, and I just see that blue light coming off of the Triton. That was the only light in the spot. You know what I'm saying? Joint would stay on, and you would pray there won't no power outage. Oh
Oh,
my goodness, man.
okay.
Come up, that track gone. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, man. So yeah, I guess I seen a lot. It don't feel like it, cause I feel like I'm still learning. You know what I
Okay.
mean? I don't feel like I'm not even close. Like, I'm like, hey, I still got a lot accomplished, you know what I'm saying? Or, try to. So,
Right.
um,
I think it more
respect.
comes with. Well, I was to say I think it more comes with. It goes back to what you were saying, learning your equipment. Because once you learn your equipment, you start to realize the similarities between other equipment that you're trying to get into next. And then you start realizing why certain things are the way they are for certain equipment. Like so for your two Akais, it's a renaissance with a what was it an Akai Advance
Advanced, yeah, the advanced 25 keyboard, yeah. With
and
the VIP, yeah.
how big of a generation gap was it between those two pieces of equipment?
um, I mean, it wasn't like like a 2000, like an MPC 2000 to a live. Like it wasn't that far. I mean the Renaissance came before that first Akai, the MPC live, right? I think that replaced that. So I mean that thing, that Renaissance kind of held its ground for a long time, from the software. And then in that time, Akai came out with that advance, you know what I'm saying? And I had already had the MPK something, but I had like the 61 key. I
Yeah.
missed that. I miss having them, you know what I mean? I don't have enough room, but I would love to have 61 keys again, man, or more. Like, but
Right.
anyway, I'm
So I think
tripping here.
no, it's all good. So I think in that time, I think in that time, Akai was trying to push more towards digital and more towards software. So they
Yeah.
started creating their equipment to gear more towards the similarities of the software. So that's why the advanced worked a little bit better with Logic versus your
Well,
Renaissance.
yeah, right, and well, yes and no. So it did because they actually had like templates in advance. You know what I mean? Like where you could set up with Logic. That part was great. Um, one of the one of the grabs for me, what grabbed me was the VIP technology, which I come to find out that was literally the reason why my computer was like locking up was because of that. Because when I finally got rid of it, it was like my stuff
Yeah,
was moving again. It was like,
that'll do that too.
wow.
That'll do it.
And but the VIP software was supposed to allow you to be able to basically layer sounds. Like you could take so instead of me going to track, pulling up 5 tracks and pulling up a synth or horn or whatever, however I wanted to layer a sound,
Yeah.
I could do all of that in that one track with the VIP software. But horrible, you know what I'm saying? Like that, because Akai don't. I mean, let me. I don't want to. Based on my experience,
Yeah.
it just seemed like Akai just like get with people and try stuff and see if it worked, and then they sell it to you.
I think
You know
that's
what I mean?
too. With a guy in particular, because they've been in this game for so long, right?
Right,
They're basically the standard for pretty much everybody else, right? It's kind of like McDonald's, right? They just try crazy stuff up until it works
right.
because
I
everybody's
agree.
following
Yep.
McDonald's. So if they're the standard for everybody, they have no choice but to continuously innovate. And I think especially when it comes to Renaissance, it may just be that the Renaissance obviously just works better with proprietary software.
Right, and I believe that's probably so. It was like they had that, and they know that worked for them. They tried to, you know, getting because they had Ableton templates, different, for different softwares. They tried that, didn't work, so they came back and said, "All right, we're gonna stick to what we know." Which hey, I get it. Companies, business, you try to figure out, and then to try to maintain that same consistency for decades. I mean, I understand. So don't think I'm biting, busting your chops, Akai, but you know, I have spent some money on you guys, and sometimes you guys be having me buggy, but y'all also have uh given me the ability to do a fair good amount of troubleshooting,
There you
which
go.
as producers and creators, you gotta be able to troubleshoot. Like that's a skill that's needed. Like if you don't come in understanding that, you know, man, I didn't know nothing about no computers. Like not like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Bro, and we talking about I I got a G5 in like '06. You know what I mean? And then I got that's when I started learning about the UADs and PCI cards, and I'm opening the computer. I'm like,
Yep.
yo. So, um, And then when shit go wrong, like big stuff, like when you lose your whole hard drive with
Man,
all of your stuff, like
oh man,
you learn, you learn.
you
And
know
sometimes,
exactly what those hotkeys for that save is. Yeah,
yeah, and like you and but the hotkeys don't help if the hot computer or the hot hard drive. So you need a hot backup. Like that's something else you need to learn. Like
yeah,
there's a it's just a process, man. Like you're trying to be more efficient, but you're also uh trying to work in such a way to where you can continue to work. That work piles up. So you gotta have somewhere to store that work. You know what I mean? And like I need to really start thinking because like, I'm doing these pods on top of making music, and I'm still saving stuff, you know, all on that drive. And it's like, oh, wait a minute, I'm doing video and audio now. I'm not just so that's what I'm saying. As you evolve and grow, you gotta troubleshoot, and try your best to do preventive maintenance, not, you know, when it happens, but that's gonna happen, and that's when you're gonna know how to troubleshoot and learn how to get through stuff. That's just life, right? That ain't
yeah.
really no
It definitely doesn't
science.
help that I work in IT too, so I know exactly why things are the way
No,
they are. So I know exactly why things are messing up. I know why certain things are overheating, this, that, and the third. And it all comes down to you just don't have enough powerful enough computer. Most times you just don't have a powerful enough computer.
yeah, you find that out, yeah, and and it's a thing that I don't know. I feel like people are more uh they see it more now, but understand that software is controlled by hardware, right? But the software has requirements that the hardware has to meet.
Yep.
So when you look at software, you need to know your hardware before you get the software. Because I've been saying this about 20 years now. No, you go beyond the minimum requirement. Like if
Yeah.
that software says it requires 2 gigs of RAM, this, that, has 16. You know what I'm saying? Like you want to go as high as you can. You know what I mean? Because what I've already seen is as you keep going along, um, these software programs become more, uh, I say aggressive, but they're more intensive in CPU usage, RAM usage. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Uh, I
And
had,
then next
I
thing you know, you're consulting a guy like me trying to trying to figure it out and tell you exactly why this, that, and the third is happening.
right, right. So it's like I had one plugin that when I started trying to automate it,
Yep.
it crash, would
Immediately.
crash every time. So when I switched and I got the Mac Studio, 64 gigs of RAM, M2 chip, I can automate all 8 parameters at the same time. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Like I didn't have enough juice. You know what I'm saying? Like, and a lot of times that's the case. So when you get your software, you know what I mean? No, the hardware is what determines how that software runs. So you got to look at it as a tandem. You know what I mean? Not, I'm going to get Fruity Loops, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, you can get it. And starting off, you're probably going to be good. But you're going to get to that point where it's like, I'm doing this and and maybe you need that. You know what I mean? Maybe that's just the process you might have to go through. But uh we trying to tell you now, go higher. You know what I mean? If you're gonna come in, get get whatever your budget allows you. You know what I'm saying? Don't go skimp on that so you can get this because whatever you're going to get ain't gonna be as important as that main piece. You know what I'm saying?
Precisely. Precisely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it all goes back again to knowing your software and then using what you got, specifically using what you got. I can't tell you how many times somebody said they got this, that, and the third, only to not use it again. Chris, you a prime example if you listening.
Don't do hey. Hey, all I know is I that's my dog, man. But like, yo, like when I say gearhead, yeah, he's like top three. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, every time you look in the call, I mean, you see, the baby guitar center. Like, you know what I mean? I'm gonna start calling him sweet Chris, Sweetwater Chris, you know what I'm saying?
You broke Chris in a second, man.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Chris Book Marketplace. Yeah, man. Hey, but if it's not hurting your pocket and you can do that, hey, I ain't. I might joke with you, whatever, but for real, if you like it, I love it. It's dope. You know what I mean? And I can appreciate it. I might even take your joint and rock out on it. Pause. I hate that word, but that felt like it needed it right then.
Sure.
Yeah.
To one of those folks where it's like, if you could do it all for me, that's all I care about. If you could do it all for me, that's all I care about. Only if I come across something new in my workflow or in anything that I'm doing to where now it requires a new thing. Like me, I'm about to switch from Machine to Ableton because
Okay.
now I need the performance aspect.
Mm.
Yeah. So I need a better performance platform than Machine is doing. Machine has been great for years. It has been doing me well, but the fact that I'm getting more into the performance piece and the performance piece is part of, is a big part of being an artist in the industry.
Mm.
You got
Hey, so on the next one, we'll be talking about how Soul City is killing Ableton. You like that setup, dog? Yeah. I'm setting it up, man, so that way we already know, man. Ain't no surprises. You know what I mean? Trying to keep it lean, you know what I
I'll
mean?
take it.
Cut out the fat, bro. Hey, man. Hey, look, I really appreciate you, man. This whole conversation was a bah, 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 bah. I usually hit that, on the when you hit that when we talk about the, newcomers coming in, I mean you hit a crucial, but I think I went off on a elaboration. So that was you got yours, you know what I'm saying?
I appreciate
Um
it.
hey man, I really appreciate you coming on, man. Hopefully I can catch you again. Hey, real quick, man, just tell people what platforms you on, man, so they can check you out.
Oh man, I'm on almost any and everything at this point. Again, trying to build the brand up, trying to build my fan base. So you find me Instagram, Facebook, SoundCloud, Twitter, not so much. TikTok, not so much. Um, D Stars is my instrumental album, but it's also on Spotify. It's everywhere. I got four different remixes out right now. They're all streaming on all platforms, and an instrumental record that just came out maybe 9 days ago. Uh, again, streaming on all platforms. But the best place you can find updates on me is on IG.
All right. So that's Soul City on IG. Y'all check them out, man. Hey, look, I appreciate you coming out, man. Hopefully I can catch up with you again. And
Absolutely.
as the guys tell me to say, bah, 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 bah. Peace.